What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In case you're seeing me for the very first time, we have no time for introductions. If you are an African and you're in the United Arab Emirates, pack your bags and go back to Africa. Come back to Africa, in fact, because I'm also in Africa right now. So come back home. In today's video, we're going to dissect the raids, the police brutality. I don't know if I'm saying that word correct. Police brutality, something like that. I have a problem with R's and L's that is happening to Africans in the United Arab Emirates. We are going to dissect all that. We are going to talk about whether if you having an ID or having a job is something that is going to save you from coming back to Africa. Let's get into it. My name is Monica and welcome to the Global Pulse with Monica. In today's video, I only have one simple request. Kindly leave a like on this video. Let's spread this word. If you like this video, YouTube is going to show it to more people. I'm saying this at the beginning because I know there are few people who watch my videos currently because I'm in a shadow ban by YouTube because of some of my content, but that's okay. That's all right. I can take a beating, but please leave a like if you watch this video so that we can promote this video to so many other people. If you can share it, even better. If you can share this video to someone in the United Arab Emirates, even much better. To an African, please don't share this video to people who are not Africans because they won't understand. I have lived in the United Arab Emirates for almost 4 years and I have seen whatever I'm going to talk about in this video firsthand. I who is sleeping, I have an ID which I got 2 months ago from the United Arab Emirates. I'm talking about the resident ID. I'm going to try and see what I can cover of my personal information and show you that very ID around here. I've talked about how Africans are being treated in United Arab Emirates. I'm going to say Dubai for this video's sake because it's easier for me to say Dubai and not keep rolling my eyes and trying to think what I need to say. In the segregation of Africans from getting jobs, the segregation of Africans from getting accommodation. Yes, if you are an African, it is very hard for you to get an apartment in the United Arab Emirates just because you are black. And some of the building managers, they're going to literally tell you to your face, I don't rent to Africans. No shame, no fear, because in the United Arab Emirates, racism is not a secret. It's not. That's the beauty of the United Arab Emirates. Don't get me wrong, racism is bad, but I don't like racism that is masked, that doesn't look as plain and simple to me. I want that when I encounter racism, I can identify it because I've grown up in Africa. I've been treated like a princess. Ever since I was born, I've been treated like a princess. I didn't know that, there was racism. Even the word, the concept of the word, the meaning of the word, to me, it was something I had to learn before I understood what racism is. Before I experienced racism, I had to learn the word, and I was surprised, like someone treats another person like that? Like someone thinks of the other person like that? Very surprising. Yeah. Nonetheless, racism in Dubai is not hidden. It is straightforward, especially the one towards Africans. If you're an African, you apply for a job and they invite you for the interviews. By the way, that was very painful. I went to so many interviews. And when you call to find out why you didn't get the job, tell you, at the moment, we are not hiring Africans. What do you mean you're not hiring Africans? Like, what do you really mean? Like, tell me what you mean. You're not hiring Africans, because it doesn't make any sense to me as a virgin. When it comes to racism, it doesn't make sense. Explain it to me. I'm qualified, I'm qualified. Probably by the time you mention it, because people are not liars, by the time you mention that at the moment we are not hiring Africans, it means I was more qualified. But because I'm African, that's why I didn't get the job. But explain that to me. It doesn't make any sense. Why Africans? Because Anyway, let's not disregard racism. It is an important word that we have come to learn and appreciate. In that case, Africans return back home. This is your home. You're going to be treated with respect like princesses and kings. queens that you are. I know it may not appear so, but Africa has so many opportunities to offer. It doesn't appear so because when you look at the unemployment rates, when you look at those statistics, sometimes they scare us. And you feel like, yeah, I guess I need to travel some. Let me push this fly outside. How did the fly get in? Get out. It's gone. It may not appear so that Africa has opportunities for Africans, including the Africans who are abroad. It doesn't appear so. Even me, when I decided to come, I was really scared. I started getting ready, but I believe it took me like a few months to finally say, you know what, let me book that ticket, let me get out of here, let me go back to Africa. Because I was always thinking, oh my God, what am I gonna do when I get back home? This and that. I was always scared. What took the last straw? I believe at that point I had even decided not to come back to Africa, because I made an ID. When amnesty came, I said, okay, you know what? This is a good opportunity. Let me make my ID, and I love it here. You convince yourself. Stop convincing yourself every single day that you like it there. You don't. You do not. I know some people, I don't know how they call this. I'm going to look for the word. When you are constantly trying to stay where you are not wanted, or maybe someone hates you, really treats you bad, but you kind of want to always please them, you want to stay around them, you want to stay in this toxic environment. I'm going to look for the word. So I believe I was getting that kind of thing whereby I'm like, I like it here, even though I knew all the bad things that had happened to me, and I couldn't deny all the bad things that were still happening to me. But I was convincing myself that, you know what, I like it here, let me make my ID, I'm gonna live here forever, I'm gonna be best in Dubai. Because I share content online, there are some videos that in them I was literally saying these words that I'm telling you right now, and I was trying to literally, as much as convince myself, also convince anyone else, like, hey, here's great, I like it here, my life is better, I'm gonna live here forever because of this and that. And some of these reasons, they might sound valid. Hold on. Some of these reasons might sound valid, especially because they are plain and simple. For example, the roads in Uganda are very dusty, and there is traffic jam, and these somehow seem like important issues to me. And I was like, you know what, because the roads in Uganda, Dubai, I like the roads. No, I don't. The roads are nice, but really, is that why I should make a big decision and subject myself to hatred, subject myself to racism? Is that why I should make such a big decision? The other reason is still big and kind of valid. In Uganda, before, I have been robbed 3 times in my house, whereby I would sleep, and then the next day I would wake up and I find that my house was robbed. This is not something that usually happens in Dubai. There's a level of safety. It is considered one of the safest places in the world. Yeah, so that is like a really good point. But was I safe? Was I really? Because I thought I was. But even when I had an ID, I was living in my little studio apartment. The police came and raided our building, and guess what? They said all black people. Okay, literally everyone in the building. Let me not lie. Let me not exaggerate the lies. But this building was mostly occupied by black people. There were a few Asians, Filipinos, some Indians. Most of the people on that building were black, and they raided that building because of black people. And everyone was sent outside. Yeah? So was I really safe? Imagine sleeping every night thinking the police might come tonight and they are gonna raid us and they're gonna send all of us outside, and I don't know what is going to happen when we are out, because sometimes when you reach outside, some people are taken to prison, some people are deported, simply because you're black. I have heard stories that say the police is going to grab you by the street and they're like, where's your ID? And you pull out your ID, like you give them, this is my ID. And they're going to break it. They tell you this ID belongs to the Dubai government. It doesn't belong to you. And I'm like, so having the residence ID as a black person in Dubai doesn't help? What actually helps? How can I live here? How can I make this place my home? Turns out it is not your home. It's not my home. Every African, I can guarantee you this. It may not be today. It may not be tomorrow. We all know those raids are happening, especially now that there is amnesty. They are trying to encourage you to pack your things by yourself and go home because there is amnesty. But we all know time is going to come. And I sincerely hope and pray for Africans, because I know how angry we can get. I personally can get really angry in a situation, and I do things that I never thought I would do. Things like fight. And we all know African boys are very energetic. So when the police comes to raid, I sincerely hope and pray that you don't get so angry to the extent of slapping that guy who so deserves that slap, by the way, and you end up in prison. Because if you do slap the guy this time, they're not just going to deport you, they're going to put you in the actual prison, which is going to ruin your life in one way or the other. I sincerely hope, because we all know it's coming, we all know at some point you're going to be raided. It is simple math, by the way. I know I keep saying this and people tell me maybe you're spreading hate. No, I'm just spitting facts. It is simple math. You go to the Dubai airport at arrival, yeah? All arrival airports. You see how many Asians are coming into the United Arab Emirates. Please do that. And while you are there, do the math, because we know when it comes to jobs in the United Arab Emirates, priority does not go to Africans at the bottom of the curve. When it comes to jobs, it's going to be Europeans, maybe Americans, Asians, anyone really around here, anyone at all. There is no one. Are you sure? Let's wait for another Asian. Hold on. And then they'll think about Africans. These are facts. I have been told by an interviewer that I'm sorry, we are not hiring Africans at the moment. That was the most confusing thing I have ever heard, because I had to sit down and think. I started from a rough place to think. I'm like, was I born in the wrong place? Is that hindering my success? And it is true, it's hindering my success by the mere fact that I'm African. But that is simply because I'm looking for opportunities abroad. The word is abroad. If I were looking for opportunities back home, I know they are hard to find, but if you dig deeper, be consistent, at the end of the day, you're gonna be better than someone who has been subjected to the kind of racism. I keep saying it because that was a culture shock to me. It was so surprising as to how someone can treat you because of the color of your skin. It was so surprising to me. I know people in America, if anyone is watching me from America and they're like, really? Like, there isn't racism there? Yes, there is no racism in Africa. There is no racism in Africa. I can guarantee you, it's a newly adopted thing here in Africa. It's something that we are just hearing about right now, and we are also kind of slowly developing some hatred for one another, for other races, but it is something new. It's not something that we have grown up knowing, like, because I'm black, I'm supposed to, because the other person is Asian, because the other, like, this is something new. I experienced xenophobia while in South Africa, and it was like at the peak of xenophobia in South Africa, and they were killing other blacks. I was shit scared to even take a taxi, because you're gonna take a taxi and the driver is South African, and they're gonna realize soon enough that you don't understand the language, and all that. I experienced xenophobia, and I thought that was the worst. But racism, racism, it will get to you. The worst part is the emotional damage. The worst part is subjecting you to this kind of thing that is going to make you think low of yourself, lower your standards. That is going to make you feel like you're not enough, you'll never be equal. Imagine being subjected to that kind of thing. When I just reached in Dubai, I was applying for the jobs, similar jobs I was doing in Dubai, which jobs I'm so good at. I'm a good medical representative. Yeah, when I reached in Dubai, those are the jobs I was applying for. And every time I would meet someone, whether they are black, whether they are anyone at all, and they would be like, oh, do you have a job? No, I'm actually looking for a job. Their very first thought was that, can you work as a maid? At first I was like, hell no, hell to the no. There is no way me, medical graduate, is going to work as a maid. Like, they're never gonna happen. Come on, I'm insulted. How dare you tell me that I can work as a maid. How dare you? So for some time, this was me. And obviously I was meeting so many people and interacting with this same kind of interaction a lot, whereby someone asks you, do you have a job? And you're like, no, I don't have a job. I'm actually looking for a job. And they would ask if you can work as a maid. Blacks are like, which is what I'm telling you. A black person in Dubai is not even going to, because they have been reduced to that, they also think like that, you know? They've been constantly told you can only work as a maid, that is as far as you can go. They also think like that. So at some point, I stopped taking the offense. Me, Monica, medical graduate from Makerere University, one of the top universities in the world, started not taking offense from someone asking me if I can work as a maid. Oh my God, look, I realized all these things when I'm back in Africa, not when I was there. While you're there, you're being subjected to thinking that, hey, all you can be and all you're ever gonna be is a maid because you're black. At some point, it just becomes normal. It's like, yeah, for us blacks here, we only work as maids. So soon enough, I lowered my standards from applying for, in pharmaceutical companies. I started applying to like a receptionist for a gym. Let's lower our standards because you know what? We are not that there. Like, I am qualified to work in a lab. I have the experience. I have the skills. I have done my internship. I did my internship in South Africa. That is where I experienced the xenophobia from. So I have the experience, but I have lowered my standards because I'm being constantly told my standards are this low and I should bring them from up here and put them back down. Africans, return back to Africa. Please. You have no idea how much your eyes are going to open up like a light bulb. You're like, it's like you're being a captive, and when they literally let you go, but this time you have to let yourself go. You have to get yourself out of there. I have interacted with so many Africans in Dubai, and especially right now when there is amnesty, some people who are in overstay, but they don't have money to, for example, get an ID. They don't care, really. They don't care. And I've interacted with them and they'll be like, yeah, I'm not going. I don't care about amnesty. And some of y'all, I hope they don't come and raid you. I surely do. Because you have convinced yourself that Dubai is going to save you. You have convinced yourself that Dubai is your financial getaway. You've convinced yourself with all these things. But I know, because I am like you, I thought all that. I thought, oh my God, if I dare leave Dubai, I prayed every single day not to get deported. That was my single number one prayer. God, please, let me not be deported back to my home. Can you imagine? Anyway, when I finally came back, I was like, holy shit. My God, I cannot believe I lived like that. I cannot believe I accepted that I am less than for a minute. No matter how short that minute was, but I accepted that I'm less than someone else. So kindly take a trip back home. Please take a trip back home. Take my word for it that Africa is so much better than whatever you are going through in Dubai. Some of you are still unemployed. I know you spent a lot of money. You left back home and you went to Dubai, and right now you're still grasping on anything and everything. Like, you've also since reduced your standards, because when you were living in Africa, someone lied to you that when you go to Dubai, they're going to give you a better job, a better kind of life. But you have reduced your standards already. You are praying for a job to work as a maid. I worked as a cleaner. I didn't work as a maid because that job opportunity came at the same time, came still early, when I was still having my self-esteem, when I still had my self-worth. And when I got that job opportunity, I was like, no, I am not a house help. At home, I hire house help. No. But later in life, when I had actually lowered my standards, gave up on all my dreams, and I worked as a cleaner for an Indian lady. I remember at some point we had a conversation, and that is actually why I left her place. At some point we had a conversation and we were talking about money. I was telling her, but you pay me too less. I don't think I can manage to keep working for you for this kind of money. And she literally told me, I swear to God, I'm not lying. Actually, I don't need to convince you guys that I'm not lying, because if you are in Dubai, you know I'm not. She told me that, but you're African. How can you say this is less money? The kind of money you're talking about, we only pay to Filipinos. That's when a little bit, an ounce of self-worth came back to me. I was like, hold up. I'm working so hard, scrubbing your floors. And the only reason you are not paying me good, somehow okay amount of money is because I'm African, and you would only pay this to someone else who would probably do a lesser job simply because their skin is lighter than mine. I was like, bye. I will never see you again. That is how I left that job. Yeah. So once again, and for the sake of saying it one last time, Africans, kindly return back home. Share this message, leave a like, comment. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.